We just got a peek inside Obama's black book, and it turns out Barack knew the Russia hoax was a hoax all along, but pushed it anyway to sabotage the Trump presidency. DNI Tulsi Gabbard declassifying pages and pages of documents, showing Obama's intel guys briefed him just weeks after the 2016 election that the Russians didn't actually sway the election. Quote, we assessed that Russian and criminal actors did not impact the recent U.S. election results. Criminal activity also failed to reach the scale and sophistication necessary to change election outcomes. But Obama just couldn't accept that. So he and his staff instructed intel agencies to cook up new reports to support Russia collusion. Quote, after the meetings, Clapper's executive assistant emailed intelligence community leaders, tasking them to create a new intelligence community assessment per the president's request that detailed the tools Moscow used and actions it took to influence the 2016 election. Tulsi Gabbard described what she found as a conspiracy to subvert the will of the American people. And she says the people involved should be prosecuted and has made a criminal referral to the Department of Justice. We knew Hillary created the dossier, and now we have proof that Barack was calling the shots and the documents to prove it.
That they raided Mar-a-Lago because they were looking for this. They were looking for the intelligence community assessment, your report on Russia's influence campaign targeting the 2016 presidential election. That's why they raided Mar-a-Lago.
I believe it had to be one of the things that they were looking for. Because, look, that report is pretty damning.
Now, critics say some members of the Obama administration could face legal implications for their actions here, and Biden officials could potentially face similar exposure for covering it up. The CIA director, from whom we just heard, wants to know ultimately if it all adds up to a criminal conspiracy.
To Pam Bondi and our Department of Justice, Kash Patel, and our FBI to investigate the conspiracy to do what and what charges that they're capable of bringing. But again, I don't think statute of limitations are going to impact, because in the conspiracy, Maria, the statute of limitation doesn't start to run until the last act in furtherance of that conspiracy.
You can't always tell everything that's going on right up front, because if you tell everything that's going on right up front, then your enemy is going to know exactly what you're doing.
I hope you're able to find the 30,000 emails that are missing.
So yeah, we have a bigger issue than just Democrats. We have an issue of the American indoctrinated people that just let things like this go. It's been happening for years and years and years, and frankly, I'm sick of it. And so I'm just telling you, they're telling you, and they've been telling you this stuff in front of your face for a really long time.
Our own government working against us. I mean, we've always had the government working against us. We just didn't know it. You know what's so weird about my intro there? I say at the very end that the government has always been working against us. We just didn't know it. And we did not know the extent. I said that years ago. So I just thought, that is so appropriate. That's why I put it in the opening of the show there. I want to say hello to Ralph Riley. He's over there in California. Sorry, dude. It's true. And then he's one of my longtime moderators, and Techno Mag out there living his life. Yep, it's crazy out there, isn't it? And then we've got Linda Dubois. She's also one of my longtime moderators. Black Satin Rose. I don't think I've seen you for a long time. Felix is over there on Rumble. Nice to see you. Dwight, how are you? What do you mean hurricane Melissa 175 miles per hour? Is that happening like right now? And so you're like in the middle of a hurricane and 175 miles an hour? That's crazy. Auntie M, how are you? Says Auntie M says David Hansen wrote about it. Mexifornia. Yeah, oh yeah, I thought that you were in Chicago, but I wasn't really sure. I don't know how you're doing it over there, just to say. I just don't know. Nice to see Judy also, and Brian is over there on X. So we're on multiple different platforms, and we've got some people also on Twitch. So I'm surprised they're even letting me even broadcast on Twitch, if you want to know the truth. But I'm definitely not like some of those guys. Yikes! Yeah, Destiny. Wow, canceled himself for being ridiculous. Okay, guys. So read comments about Lamb. I'm in a rare conservative leaning section. You'd have to be. Otherwise, I don't know how you can stand it. He's talking about Chicago. Anyway, so Obama's from Chicago, and he's got an abominations big building there that looks, I don't even know what shape that is. That is crazy looking. I don't know if you've seen it or not, but I mean, the fact that Obama is building a library is already weird because the guy can't read. Obviously, if he could read the Constitution, he would know that the stuff that's happening to him, about to happen to him right now, is our recourse against what he did, which is what I'm going to talk about today because it's so ridiculous. It is so over the top. I don't know. I mean, I don't think Obama's smart enough to do all this stuff. So I'm pretty sure that he had someone do it for him. Sometimes I feel like Maria Bartiromo, and I'm not even going to say why. But I want you to watch this video here. I've got so many videos. I've got so much stuff on Obama. It's crazy. I mean, here's a guy who basically was a lowly senator. And I say lowly senator because he really didn't make a lot of waves. Okay. And then all of a sudden now he's going to be president. So he is an infiltrator. He was an infiltrator in chief, specifically tasked for a coup against the United States of America so that they could take it over. And when Donald Trump ran for office, and all of us, okay, here we are watching Obama going, holy crap, you are a destructive POS. He is the one who started this race war stuff because of the Trayvon Martin thing with Zimmerman. Remember George Zimmerman getting his head beaten to the ground by this guy, Trayvon Martin, and they're like, he's just a child. Yeah, just a huge child beating somebody, attacking them, laying in wait for them. And he was shot in the process because he was attacking someone. And it was deemed self-defense, which of course it should have been. But George Zimmerman had to go through all this stuff, all this ridiculous media stuff, and then Obama coming out and say, he could have been my son. If that was your son, we need something else because, wow. So you're telling me that your son goes into a convenience store at like, what was it, like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, something like that. It was ridiculous where kids his age should be in bed. He's out there on the streets, going to a convenience store, and then walking through some neighborhood where it's not even his neighborhood, specifically just to cause trouble. If that's your kid, there's a problem, man. Now listen to this guy.
About this with the comedian Trevor Noah the other day, and you said a number of things in a row. You observed that there had been contacts between members of Mr. Trump's staff and Russian officials. Right. You noted that Trump benefited from the hacks. Your spokesman, Josh Earnest, has gone on.
This is the traitor himself speaking.
To say this week that it's obvious that Trump knew what was going on.
Of course.
To what extent are you suggesting?
See, this is the thing. Trump already knows what's going on. He just doesn't say it. And he doesn't say it because there's no point in saying it, telling your enemy what let them do their crime and catch them in it. Sometimes you guys are so afraid of, oh my gosh, they're going to commit a crime. Yeah, that's the mentality of the cops. The cops are going to arrest you, slam you down on the ground, rough you up, and you haven't even committed a crime. Okay? Stop worrying about things that haven't happened and start letting them do this because you can't get the evidence until they actually do the crime. That's what Donald Trump did.
some kind of cooperation between the president-elect and Russian officials here.
Well, I'm not suggesting cooperation at all. Keep in mind that those statements were in the context of everyone now acting surprised by the CIA assessment that this was done purposely to improve Trump's chances. And my only point was that shouldn't be treated as a blockbuster because.
Can you see how nervous Obama is on answering these questions and how carefully he's trying to choose his words? Because he knows every single word out of his mouth is going to be analyzed and used against him.
That was the worst kept secret in this town. Everybody understood that. It was reported on. Steve, if you go back and look at your stories, if you read any mainstream publication, you would see that if you have a hack of the DNC and a hack of Hillary Clinton's most senior advisor's emails, and those things are then released in drip, drip, drip fashion over the course of months, and that seem to generate consistently negative coverage, despite the fact that there's nothing in there that.
There's nothing in there. There's everything in there. Everything.
It's particularly.
We've analyzed those emails so many times. Besides the fact Hillary Clinton had a pipeline to China through that private server.
Controversial, that it's mostly just.
And speaking of that private server, just so you know, the reason that she had the private server, it wasn't because anything about the government. What she was trying to do is own the data, because if you're the secured party, you own the data. But the only way you own the data is if you have a private server and a private security agreement. That's why she did it that way.
As I said, political gossip or routine emails between folks who were working in a campaign environment, then it's a pretty clear inference that people would draw and did draw that this was helping the Trump campaign and it was hurting the Hillary campaign. That doesn't.
Sometimes the truth hurts, you piece of crap.
Mean that the Trump campaign was coordinating. It just means that they understood what everybody else understood, which was that this was not good for Hillary Clinton's campaign. And
Hillary wasn't good for Hillary Clinton's campaign. Please.
When you combine that with the fact that the president-elect has been very honest about his admiration for Putin and
see how he is? His admiration for Putin. Basically, it's the same thing. Okay, for example, we have a deep state that is so intricate and so infiltrated in every fabric of our society, with a financial system that it has lied to people for years. We've got a shadow government going on behind the scenes. We've got a corporation which has taken over our lives. And there's a difference between a corporation and a Republican. People are so indoctrinated, can't figure that out. So when he sits there and he says that the Donald Trump has said that how enamored he is with Putin or something like that, it has nothing to do with it. The fact is the brilliance of evil and how they could come up with this stuff. Okay. I mean, it's totally diabolically brilliant. I'm not saying it's good, but it's definitely brilliant. And that's the same exact thing that Donald Trump is saying about Putin. Putin's been in there for a long, long time, and the people keep voting for him. Is their system rigged? I don't know. But the people keep voting for him. So if the people keep voting him into power, why wouldn't he? And yeah, I know all about Putin getting rid of his political enemies, which is exactly what the Biden administration tried to do, which is exactly what the Democrats are trying to do, trying to throw a president in prison for doing the right things, making up bogus charges, trying to infiltrate violence and instigate violence and against people who are supporting him is absolutely unacceptable. Hey, Karen, how are you over there on Rumble? So you see what I'm saying? Don't tell us about him, about Donald Trump saying something about Putin. Here's the thing, Mr. Obama. You were an infiltrator. You're a puppet. You are the person being used, and you don't even seem to care. I wonder where your soul's at. Okay? I am absolutely disgusted that people would vote for him just because he's black. That's ridiculous. So now you get to say that you voted not for the first black president, but for the one who was installed to absolutely destroy this country. You should be very proud of yourself for that, I guess.
That he hopes to forge a more cooperative relationship with him and focus on the threat of Islamic terrorism, then my only point was we shouldn't now suddenly act as if this is a huge revelation.
Well, we don't. We never thought it was a huge revelation. We watched you very carefully. We know what's been going on since 1871.
In October, we said, after being very careful about it, because we had no interest in appearing as if we were putting our thumbs on the scales, we did what was almost unprecedented, which was every intelligence agency in the federal government arrived at a consensus.
FYI, this guy completely ignored the actual consensus that the CIA had, totally ignored it and said, no, we're going to go with this, which is the Russian hoax thing. Okay. And Hillary Clinton didn't come up with it, even though that's what they said at the very beginning. Hillary Clinton didn't come up with that. John McCain handed her the records that Marco Rubio had done opposition research on Donald Trump, and there was no dirt there. That's why Marco Rubio didn't use it. So it goes way beyond Hillary Clinton. She's not the brightest bulb. Okay. And the things that happened and the things that are happening and the things that have been happening for years and years and years take more than the intelligence of these guys combined.
That the Russians had hacked the DNC.
Liar.
And the information that was now being released.
That's that whole Seth Rich thing and all that kind of stuff. Seth Rich went in to the DNC. After Bernie Sanders decided that he was going to drop out of the race, Seth Rich was really, really angry with that. But he decided he was going to go ahead and work for the DNC. And when he found out what they were really doing, then yes, Seth Rich is the one who stole the emails. That is not a Russian hack. And Obama knew it. That's why Seth Rich is not here today.
Was as a consequence of a decision by Russian intelligence and Russian officials at the highest levels. So what the CIA is now assessing, which was it was done purposefully to...
Have you noticed that this guy barely looks the other guy in the eye when he's talking? I mean, if you're telling the truth, you're going to look somebody in the eye. He keeps looking at him to see if he's even looking at him back. Are you buying my story? Are you buying my story?
Tilt the election in the direction of a particular candidate shouldn't be a surprise to anybody, and in fact isn't a surprise to anybody. And as I said before,
that guy somebody needs to go and rip that United States flag right off that guy's chest.
The issue now is not relitigating the election. The issue now is for us to learn lessons.
Oh, you did.
So that we don't have an...
This is why 2020 happened.
...ongoing situation in every election cycle where you have substantial foreign influence in our campaigns.
There's another issue going forward. Mm-hmm. Is it necessary for the security of the United States that Russia pay some price for doing this? If, as you said, they did it.
I think there is no doubt that when any foreign government tries to impact the integrity of our elections, that we need to take action, and we will.
Yeah. Said the lying piece of crap that was actually sitting in that seat. This is why I have no respect for him. In fact, when he won the first time, I was very, very upset. When he won the second time, I was even more upset because I thought, how could the people not see what happened in the first 4 years? And then the video with him saying, well, you know, after the campaign is over, I'll have more ability to do things. Remember that on a hot mic when he didn't think people were actually paying attention, and they were? Yeah, it's the Russian boogeyman, apparently. Look at this. Obama's secret stay behind the army. I don't think he won either time. Well, I don't think necessarily these people win at all. I think they're totally installed. I think the only reason that Donald Trump even got in there in the first place is because we overwhelmed the system that they're used to doing, which is a 10% sway one way or the other. I mean, you know, they try to make it close so the American people think they're actually voting, you know. So this is the Obama's secret stay behind the army, and apparently he's supposedly trying to control the army, and it's part of the deep state. So yeah, that's a whole thing. That's a whole thing too. So, you know, the amount of destruction and involvement that Obama has is just over the top. It's totally ridiculous. And apparently, according to Benny, I almost said Benny Hill. That's not true. Benny Johnson,
former FBI.
they're saying that, okay, look, Chuck Grassley just received this doc from the DOJ, proof that Biden Attorney General Merrick Garland plus Deputy Attorney General Lisa Monaco and FBI Director Chris Wray all personally approved opening Arctic Frost. So they are right now convening a grand jury in Florida. I'm pretty sure it's in Florida to go after Obama. And I think this is interesting. This report right here by Benny Johnson with his guest is talking about that particular thing. But the video is so long, I decided that we would not play it today. So you guys can go look at what Benny Johnson is saying in that particular video. Now look at this one.
Who do you believe was the mastermind behind the Russia collusion lie?
Well, there's a lot of masterminds, but I think in general, this was lit on fire by Obama, Team Obama and his team after Trump won in 2016. So they could have stopped it. They should have stopped it. Instead, they lit the fuse. They put out a BS intelligence report, if you recall, right before the president came in. They framed General Flynn. They framed the entire Trump administration. And then they appointed Mueller. So once Trump fired Comey, Mueller gets appointed. And then we lived through that Mueller witch hunt for years. And I think, me personally, I think if you're going to find criminality, it's going to be with Mueller and his witch hunters that were there for so many years. I think that's where you're going to find the corruption. So it wasn't just I said this many times, Maria, and I think it was lost on people. It wasn't just about all the corruption that they did to create and manufacture the Russia hoax. The Mueller investigation itself was a hoax and was illegal.
Yeah.
When Mueller walked into that door, how many times did I say it? He said, "Where are the Russians?" "Oh, sir, there are none." Why didn't Mueller leave? Why did all those people work for years? Why did they hide the information from Congress for so many years? I think you're going to find many of those top-level lawyers and FBI agents, as Cash said, did not conduct themselves in a professional manner. And I think if interviewed again, you could maybe get to the bottom of it. But look, you have two guys that want to get to the bottom of it. I have every faith that they will.
As Devin, you just mentioned Robert Mueller. Is that where we're going to see accountability? Are we not going to see any accountability from the likes of McCabe, Strzok, and what about Comey?
Yeah.
Well, Dan and Cash are part of the cleanup crew now. So because you had the initial criminality, you had the Clinton campaign, doing what they did. Then you have Obama that lights that basically lights the fuse.
Yeah.
Well, then you had Mueller, who basically came in and covered it all up. So I think when you go in and start to look at that, remember, like everybody's paying attention to Biden, and recently these her tapes were released, and people, everybody knew. Now they act like they knew that Biden, was essentially out of it. Well, those lawyers that were working for Mueller had to know that Mueller was out of it. Before Biden craziness, you had Mueller craziness. So I just believe that the agents and people that moved from the Russia hoax into the Mueller witch hunt hoax, those people need to be interviewed, and there should be accountability there. I'm really anxious and want to learn from what Director Patel said, this new information. I wonder if it does have to do with that. I don't know yet. I mean, I'm sure that I will, that we will see it at as a President's Intelligence Board. We will get all that information. The President's been very clear with me when he asked me to take on this role. He wants the corruption cleaned out.
Yeah.
He wants the politicization cleaned up. And I think what we're seeing here is you got to have transparency. You now have Ed Martin put in place in Washington, D.C. Now, look, we can't deal with the court.
They're trying so hard to get rid of Ed Martin.
The justices and that problem.
Well, that's right.
We'll have to deal with it one day at a time.
I mentioned just Judge Boasberg. He was the one who gave Kevin Kleinsmith a smack on the wrist when Kevin Kleinsmith said, no, Carter Page is not a CIA asset, which he was. And what did he get? Community service. And here comes Judge Boasberg again, trying to stop President Trump on the immigration plans.
Yeah, every time you peel something back here, Maria, what we learn is the corruption was much worse than what we thought. And I think because President Trump has come in, he's cleaning things out, he's putting good people in. Now what we're dealing with is the last part the left owns are the judges. Yeah. And now we're learning about what the judges are doing.
How many times have I said that? How many times have I said it comes down to the judges being extremely corrupt, and then they have soldiers out there on the streets that are the biggest street gang that there is in the entire United States of America, who will do their bidding and come and get you. Yeah. So because the cops have no brains in their heads, they don't. I mean, have you noticed that the dumbing down of America is really absolutely a thing? And you can go out now on the street, and if there's a cop there, they're more intent on causing you problems and harassing you. I don't even want to be involved with them in any way, shape, or form now, because the amount of bullying and harassment and trying to find crimes that don't exist, it's like, if you look at them sideways, I've seen video after video after video of them getting their feelings hurt, and then they get away with it, and they get away with it because of the judges. They wouldn't be getting away with it if it wasn't for the judges themselves. This is absolutely unacceptable in every way. Look at this.
President Tom Fitton speaking out on new damning documents showing the Obama-era FDA purchased fetal body parts.
Yeah,
Here's
can you believe
America's
it?
John Hines.
As the president of Judicial Watch, can you comment on reports of records that you have received from the Obama administration FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, of communications and contracts with a human fetal tissue provider that seems to show the FDA was buying, quote, intact calvarium baby skulls, 18 to 24 weeks, for $515 per skull? What do you make of this apparent sale of fetal body parts to the FDA?
Well, it ought to cause both moral and legal outrage on the part of United States citizens and taxpayers, that their tax dollars are being used to purchase basically the dead bodies of unborn human beings. They divvy up their bodies, they sell their heads, they sell their livers, they sell other aspects of their body, and you see the price list.
Another interesting bit of information you uncovered, also stating here, documents, quote, documents previously uncovered in this lawsuit, according to your press release.
Can you believe this? Okay, so here's you and I. We do not believe in abortion, okay? We especially don't believe in in taking baby body parts and grinding them up, powdering them, and putting them in vaccines or anything of that nature. And they force this stuff upon us. You're supposed to be paying taxes to the federal government to do stuff, and they're taking our funds, however they acquire them, which is mostly through money laundering and stealing and anything they can possibly think of to force their will upon you. Okay. We're paying for that stuff. This is part of what the Obama administration is doing. Now, I don't know. I'm going to say something here that you probably, I don't know if you're even going to be able to get the concept. Okay. We are in a spiritual war between good and evil for actual physical stuff. Okay. And you are participating in rituals that you don't even know you're participating in. Because, okay, so on both sides of this coin, there are ritual things. Okay, people participate in rituals on both sides of the coin. One side of the coin is so evil that it is perpetrating its evil on you without your consent. No, I'm not frozen. I don't know. You might have to refresh your Rumble. I don't know. Because 2 people on Rumble said that so far. That tells me if that is the case, okay, and the evil is actually being perpetrated upon us without our consent, we better start thinking about what we're actually doing. Yeah. I'm going to tell them. There. Maybe that will help them. Okay. All right. So this battle is very odd. Okay. It's a concept that's going to be really difficult for some people to understand, that the things that you're experiencing might possibly be a ritual to enhance evil. Okay. And what are some of the evils that are being enhanced during the season? One of them is Halloween, obviously. I mean, that is like the most obvious of all. If you are a Christian and you're participating in the upcoming Halloween thing, which is supposed to be, I guess, on Friday, I completely forgot about it because I don't celebrate that thing. And you're going to do trunk or treat. What's the difference? You're doing the same exact thing anyway. Kids are dressing up in little costumes because you're promoting it. Christians are promoting this. Look at Hobby Lobby. Christians should be saying to Hobby Lobby, excuse me, I thought this was supposed to be a Christian organization. You don't work on Sunday, but yet you've got all kinds of secular stuff in here between Easter, which is a secular thing, and Halloween. What are you doing? I thought you were Christian. And then you go right next door to Mardell's, because Mardell's and Hobby Lobby are usually right together. And you have the same thing. Then you have preachers up on the stand saying ridiculous things about, don't forget, after church, we're going to have this, that, or the other, which is some kind of bake sale. Don't forget to go outside and do your bake sale. Really? You know what? We have congregations. We don't do bake sales. We don't do things like that. Every time we need something done, we just tell the people, and the people say, okay, let's fund that thing. Or, we're not going to support that. Whatever it is that they're saying, okay, about the project themselves. We don't do bank sales. We don't do any of that stuff. We don't do fundraising, because what's the point? There's nothing to be done. And you surely shouldn't be doing that on Sunday. So here's what I'm saying to you. Okay, so you go to these churches and they have all their baked goods out on display in the hallway. What's the difference between that and when Christ overturned the tables in the temple? Because weren't they buying and selling? in the temple on Sunday, on the Sabbath? Yes, they were. So I don't understand where you guys are coming from. I don't understand why you guys are not standing up to these pastors. And I put this in quotation marks because I wonder, where are you actually leading them to? You're leading them down the path of Obama. Obama and these Democrats now have become the side that no one should be on. No one. Now, if you say you're a Democrat, we have to wonder, are you evil? Are you instigating evil? I mean, the abortion thing, the overthrow of the government, the oppression of the people, trying to make sure that they're continually using the government all the time. Well, don't worry, the government will cover it. Don't worry, the government will cover it. Don't worry, the government will cover it. We should worry, and the government shouldn't cover it. Why should our money be leaving our area to go money launder into the federal system or the state system even, and just to come back to us with less power than it had if we had it in our hand right now? It makes no sense to me. What are we doing? Why are we discouraging Christians from going out and doing a civic duty? This land, God didn't have to establish this land. He could have just said, hey, everything else is fine. Don't worry about it. But he established this land for a reason, to show what actual freedom and liberty were about, by helping to orchestrate and influence a constitution which only recognizes our rights that are God-given by God. Are you seriously kidding me? And then you can go out there on the streets and you say, the first question, does the Constitution grant your rights? And most people would say yes, because they don't understand that the Constitution doesn't grant anything. It only recognizes our rights. How many times have you heard the democracy? They're killing our democracy. They're doing this. Democracy. There is no democracy. If you want to see what democracy looks like, go to a liberal protest. That's what democracy actually looks like. The forcing of the will by mob rule. That's what democracy actually looks like, and I don't want any part of it. The Constitution itself was made for one person and one person only, so that I don't have to do all the stuff that you're doing. If the majority is doing something wrong, I don't have to participate under the Constitution. So if the entire majority thinks that that cop over there can harass people for basically just hurting their feelings because you don't like their speed, you don't like the fact that there's 2 lanes leading up to where they come into one, and there's some cones there. And so we've got some traffic daddies who put their cars out in the middle of the lane so that nobody can get by that with them. But there's 2 lanes for a reason that funnel into one, so that the flow of traffic, you go all the way up and you try to go one car, one lane, you know, because if people weren't so selfish, it would be 1 car from this lane, 1 car from that lane, and it would be 1 of each lane. But no, people are selfish. I'm not letting him in. Don't you even try to get in. What do you think you're doing? You're cutting in the line. How many times have you heard that? People in my own family do that, just so you know. Yeah, it's not exclusive to everyone else. I'm sitting there and thinking to myself, what is the matter with you? What is me first? Me. It's always me. I must do this for myself. Yeah, it's true. You have to have a stable home. I get that. Yes, you should be making sure your family is stable before anything else and going on beyond that, because you can't help other people if you're not stable yourself. But we're facilitating evil. Look at Obama. If people would have thought about this before, look at what's happening in New York City. Mamdani, whatever his name is. That guy is second in the race right now. to be the mayor of New York. If you like wailing 5 times a day, is it 5 times? I think it's 5 times a day over the loudspeakers of where you live, that's what's going to happen. Mamdani is a plant. And get this, even the mafia doesn't want Mamdani, because they're going to try to turn it into something that is not American. So here we have a bunch of Democrats that are out there trying to destroy the American culture. They uphold everyone else's culture except for ours. They say, but we're a nation of immigrants. Yeah. So we've also got American way of life that we don't need to get rid of. It's just to the point where it's over the top ridiculous. Problems most of society have an unwarranted sense of entitlement. I know. Just so you know. I agree with that 100%. So over the weekend, I had somebody come over to my house. And now, see, when you go to someone else's house, you should respect their opinions and respect what they're doing. If you don't like it, you can remove yourself from the situation or shut up. Okay? Be quiet. Don't talk to them about whatever the subject is. Well, someone wanted to come over here and try to tell me what I think, which isn't going to work out very well. And I said, no, I'm not. I don't think this is a good conversation. I think if you're going to keep going down this road, you need to leave. So what happens? She starts trying to assault me. First, it was verbal assault. And then I was like, okay, you need to get out of my house. Okay. I'm not going to sit here and let someone disrespect me in my own house. Okay. So the entitlement was coming at me. And I was like, okay, who owns this house? It's definitely not you. So that means you got to go, not me. I don't need to go anywhere. This is my house. You need to get out. But she wasn't having it. So she literally drew her fist back twice. And I was sitting there thinking to myself, who is this entitled brat coming over to my house and trying to tell me the way it is? She was younger. And I thought, this is how they solve problems. This is how the left and the entitled children try to solve problems. If they don't get their way, then they start hurting you. Well, I do like my cooking channel, just so you know. Jack Attack, what are you doing over there? I haven't seen you in a long time. That's my friend, Jack Attack. I like you. Yeah, he's always over there, and he's from down under. I don't know. I just think we are participating in rituals that we shouldn't be participating in. And until we stop doing that, I don't know how we're going to survive what's coming. I just don't know. We should be absolutely 100% thinking about the things that we're doing and the things that we're perpetrating in this world. And I say perpetrating because every single time you do something, it's like an energy. So here we are, we have the spiritual thing going on between good and evil. Now, whether you want to recognize it or not, it doesn't make any difference because it's there. So you've got this good and evil thing that is fighting for your attention all the time. You have to figure out, are you going to be on the side of the good or the side of the evil? If you're going to be on the side of the evil, then you might as well already know that you're not there. There's no saving that at the end. Okay. That person must have been out of their mind. Yeah. People who know me aren't going to sit there and say, I'm going to come into your house and disrespect you. You know, these people need to learn a lesson. There are manners involved when you're on the good side. Okay. Today, we've removed all the things that make society respectful, moral, ethical, and we're left with the drudge of the earth, it seems like. the more you go down the road and the more you see what's happening and the more you understand what's happening in the world, you can see that every single thing. A long time ago, my father said, there's no such thing as black and white. I mean, gray. There's only black and white. Everything is one side or the other. And I thought, okay, you know, sometimes things don't matter, but actually in reality, they do. You think that this one little thing doesn't matter, but it's like putting a little pebble in the water. What happens when you put the pebble in the water? It goes out from there. The rings go out and affect all the rest of the water. It's the same exact thing that you're doing. So the energy that you're spending on certain things is not productive. And accommodating children to do bad things because you think it's cute isn't good. Like putting little costumes on them. If there were no little costumes to be put on them, does the kids suffer? I mean, look at the Mennonites, look at the Amish. Are their kids suffering because they're not participating in Halloween? Are the people who are putting their foot down and saying, hey, we're not going to participate in Halloween, are their children suffering in any way? No, they're not. Sure, they don't have little pictures of their kids in little tiny costumes, and their kids aren't going out and getting handfuls of candy and all that stuff. By the way, there's a warning out there right now. Liberals are threatening to lace candy with fentanyl. It's all over all over the internet. So I don't know why you would even want to participate in that. That's like serial killers on the loose. Okay. So why would you have your kid participate in that? The liberals are also threatening on November 1st to go out and rob people. Okay. They're going to rob you. They're putting a warning on Walmart right now. Walmart is trying to decide whether or not they're going to be doing total online groceries now, because that means you're going to have to order them and someone will deliver them to your house, because that's how serious the liberals are about, I'm going to get my food stamps. I'm going to get my food, whether you like it or not. All of this stuff started with the shadow government and the destruction of the United States of America. Welfare wasn't even a thing until about the 50s. First, they targeted black mothers because black mothers were being left by the black fathers. And so they targeted them and said, don't worry, we'll take care of you. The churches were supposed to do that. Yes, I agree. Look what he's saying. This is so true. That was evil spirits trying to dominate you in the comfort of your own home because you radiant positive. Well, I didn't know he was going to say that part. You radiant positive energy, so they can't take it, especially when you speak the truth all the time. Yeah, well, that's true. I have to, when you are trying to do what's right, and like my whole office is about truth. Okay. Now I know that seems weird, but truth in the court, truth in the books, truth in your living, truth in every single thing. That's my whole office. Okay. My whole house. That's what I do almost every single day, is try to give you some kind of information that's going to help you with their life. And so because of this food stamp situation and the Democrats actually think that them doing this government shutdown is to their benefit, which it's really not to their benefit. It's actually to their destruction. Constructive versus deconstructive keeps it simple. Good versus evil makes it complicated. No, it doesn't. No, it's good, which is God, or it's evil, which is Satan. You can say it any way you want to, and it's still, peel back all the layers. It's good versus evil, because that's all there is. God is very clear. He said, when I created good, I created evil. And the reason that I'm saying that is because, for example, you can't make one side of the paper without making the other side of the paper. Okay. So in order to know good, you would have to have evil, because if all you ever had was good, you would never know evil. You wouldn't even know what it is. You'd be like, what? I don't even know what you're talking about. And therefore you would have no choice whether or not to choose God or to choose Satan. You'd have no choice. It'd already be done for you. The whole point was so that you had the ability to choose for yourself. And God's not going to force you to go to him. He's not going to force you to say good versus evil. He's not going to force you to say Jesus Christ is actually my son. I mean, that's one of the things that the girl was saying in my house. Jesus Christ was just a Hebrew. Oh, really? That's interesting. We are given the will to choose. That's right. And she's right too. Hopefully you're given the discernment, if you use it, to make the choice. So this is why I'm like, you guys don't see this. You are a critical point right now. You're a critical point right now. And what's interesting about all of this stuff, there are people around the world that are high-level committees. And I say committees because I don't know what else to name them. High-level committees out there that are combating the spiritual battle every single day for the people. And you don't even know who they are. I know who some of them are, but you don't even know who they are. And what do those people do? Those people pray constantly to God, because it's supposed to be that you're in continual prayer. It's supposed to be pray always, which is one of the most powerful things you can do. I know it doesn't seem like you're doing anything, but that's what God said to do. Pray always. Okay. If you're going to pray always, then shouldn't you be in a constant state of prayer? Shouldn't you, right before you're ready to do something, say, okay, God, you know what? I'm going to write this book here. And I know that, I'm going to try to write this book and I'm going to put it together, and hopefully the words that are on the page will get into somebody's mind so they'll be able to get it. The words that are coming out of my mouth right before I say them, I do my podcast. I usually say, okay, whatever it is I'm going to say, I'm hoping that whatever I say on the other side, it's going to be reaching your head in the way you need it to be received. Not me. Not the way I need it to be received, the way you need it to be received. I'm lucky. I'm fortunate that I have this platform to do anything at all. You just have to use the gifts and talents that you're given, whatever those are. There's a lot of things that I can't do, but other people can. One time my father, I'm just going to give you this quick thing. So my father has a few health problems, and he was thinking to himself, he kept thinking, I don't understand why I have this one particular health problem. I prayed and prayed and prayed about it, and I just don't know. I don't know why I keep having this health problem. So he had to go to the hospital one time because of this problem. And a nurse came in, and, she's talking to my dad. My dad happens to be a missionary. And so he's talking to her. And as he's talking to her, she's saying that she doesn't even know if she wants to be a nurse anymore. She just doesn't know, because she doesn't feel like she's doing any good in the world. And so that was, if my father had not had his health problem, he wouldn't have met that woman. So he proceeds to tell the woman about the good things that nurses do in the world. Because without nurses, certain people, you wouldn't be able to be healed. You wouldn't have the care. Because isn't the nurse the first one you normally see? Normally it is. Isn't the nurse the one who gets the orders or whatever from the doctor to do whatever it is that needs to be done to help you? Yes. Isn't the nurse the one who assists the doctor? Yes. So the nurses, they are way more than the doctor ever is, interacting with people all the time. So nurses they can spread a lot of goodwill. And I realize there's a lot of nurses out there who questionable, but that is a noble profession that someone should be very glad to have when they use it wisely. It's just like any other job. You would not come across the people in your daily life if you did not have that job. And as you have that daily walk where you're doing something and interacting with other people, you have the chance every single time you do something to help that other person come to the right realization. And I say the right realization because actually being good and doing what's right would be the real thing that you're supposed to be doing. That's what Hopefully, don't you want everyone to be saved? I say saved because you're already saved, but I recognize that they're being saved, recognize that Christ is the Savior, recognize that there's more than just walking around in life like this. I mean, this is not that great. When I was a kid, it was pretty good. And it wasn't just because I was a kid. It's because we didn't have all this stuff that we got now, which is people. Do you think that liberals would have even said anything on their social media about lacing fentanyl in candy for children? Do you think that would even come across in their heads? I don't think so. But it is open season on good right now. And the only reason it is because we're just about ready to win. Because right before, everybody's played a game, probably some kind of a video game. And at the end of the video game, when you're just about ready to beat the whole entire game, out comes the big boss. And it throws everything it has at you all at once. And all the skills that you've learned throughout the entire game, you have to use at the very end to defeat that boss. Yeah, it's the big boss fight. Everybody who's played any kind of game knows that. It's the big boss fight. So all those skills that you've learned throughout the entire game are all going to be used at the very end to see if you can defeat that boss. That's where we're at right now. We're right there at the big boss fight. Are you going to be on the side of the big boss, or are you going to be on the side of us? Yes, I agree. I'm ready to stand together too. I'm ready to win. That's what happens when you all get together. That's why you have to do it in your local community. You cannot change the entire world. You can't. You can try. But you know what? You're not called to change the entire world. You're just called to do what's right in your own neighborhood, with your own people, with your own family, if you can. Some people can't even talk to their family because it's such a volatile thing. The indoctrination is real. It's just absurd to me. So this is what I'm trying to say to you. This is the time to make a decision. The coup was real. Obama tried so hard to take over the government, which he did, and he almost had it done. In fact, in Biden's 4 years of destruction, it almost happened again. And you can see what total destruction would be like, because that's where we're on the road to. The only reason I think that our country hasn't been destroyed completely yet is because I think there's more Christians out there than they want to admit. And the reason I'm saying want to admit is because, like back in the day when Hitler was all over the place and people were like, they didn't want to say that they were Jewish or that they had any Jewish relatives or anything that had to do with anything like that. There are colleges out there that have deemed Christians the enemy. There's textbooks out there that do the same thing. There's teachers in schools who are doing the same thing. Your job as a parent is to absolutely 100% protect your children. Why were you blocked off the comments? What? Well, it wasn't me. They're now labeling us National Christians as a terrorist organization. I know. This is what we've come down to, and it's going to be up to us, to do what's right. Yes, it is an all-out war on Christianity, which makes sense. I mean, look how much they've infiltrated the Christian music industry. Are you kidding me? Are you literally kidding me right now? It's so infiltrated, sometimes you can't even recognize what's secular and what's Christian. And places like Hobby Lobby and Mardel's aren't helping anything. The big mega churches aren't helping anything. The mega churches, you go inside them now and they look like their concert hall. Why are we trying to mimic bars? It doesn't make any sense to me. People who have come out of the bar, come out of that life, don't want to go over to a church that looks like a bar. what would be the point? They're trying to find something better than that. You're not being censored now. I don't know what happened. Somebody might have accidentally clicked on your name or something, but you're good now. So I don't know. Lyndon Drive is in the room. Whoop, whoop. Well, guys, I do have a new book that I just finished today. It's going to be out tomorrow, and it's called Redeem and Recredit, a practical guide to redemption. So that is going to be your bill paying thing for the monthly bills. And I think it's going to be a pretty good book. So if you want to get it's called the Redemption and Recredit, a practical guide to redemption, which is how you're going to use the monetary system. But you can't use it if you're not a secured party. You got to be a secured party. Be a part of the solution, not a problem. I say exactly. That's what I'm trying to do. They're trying to wipe out Christianity when most religions were derived from it. I know. Isn't that crazy? I know. Do you know this girl who came to my house? She literally said that the Bible is not about Christianity. I'm like, okay. And she accused me of not reading it. I'm like, okay, you know nothing about me. Goodbye. See ya. Guys, the only thing that's going to save you right now, is God. And I don't know what else to say. If you don't have God on your side, then you're playing with fire. So I will see you guys tomorrow. And don't forget, Malibu Dallas will be joining me every Friday. And we're going to be analyzing the things that happened during the week. So you won't want to miss that show either. I'll talk to you later.